3, 2, 1. Okay, that's 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's not 5 seconds. I guess I should have used, the watch on my wrist that counts off seconds, but that seems too.
We are an anti-watch podcast, so you can't actually use that to tell time.
Can't use mine. Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to Trangirlismo. This, I think, will be episode 7. We are still banking episodes because one host is getting married, and I'm also going to that wedding. But then after that, I'm going to the UK, actually, for a couple weeks to see everybody's favorite transgender podcaster, November Kelly, who has a new show out. I'll put in the show notes because you should just go listen to it. It's pretty funny.
Be Gay Solve Crimes is the name of
Be
the
Gay Solve Crimes, yeah. But my name is Victoria Scott. My pronouns are she and her, and I am here with my co-host.
Hi, my name is Jordan Hofstetter. My pronouns are she and her. And we have a friend of ours from back in Houston this week.
I'm Kevin McCauley, and my pronouns are he and him. Bring it down. Bringing it down the show right now.
Yeah. New for 96's own.
Author of Waiting for the Sun to Come Down from Career Media.
Moonstone
and also,
enthusiast.
That's right, yeah.
And also just really talented automotive photographer and cool person. One of the only people in the city of Houston that I, really hung out with pretty frequently, even up to and including my gender change.
Yeah. Definitely one of the only people from being deep in the Texas car scene that I still talk to.
Wow. Well, it's awesome to be here. Thank you so much. I'm a longtime listener since the very beginning. 6 episodes ago. And I was excited that you asked me to come on. And so yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely, I think if there has been one thing that has ever been a influence on the way that I photographed cars, it was totally you. Because when I was covering races for Hoodiverse, I was just like, well, I have an iPhone with a bad lens because it's a phone.
Just a really quick thing. Sorry, I'm hearing you talking through somebody else's speakers.
I think based on the Google Voice call, it might be AirPod bleed.
I don't know. It's not I don't have the speaker on or anything.
It's not showing it. Is it showing it peaking on yours? I just want to make sure. I'm really sorry to derail things.
No, not at all.
It's totally okay.
No, it's not showing anything on mine.
Cool. You're not seeing us, our voice peak when you're when. Okay.
No.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's only a thing we're hearing.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
You can. If you want to pick that back up and we can just cut this part, that's cool.
Yeah. Here.
I'm really sorry.
I say leave it in.
We could also leave it in. Once again, this is my wife's discretion on what technical she left in. You getting gassed by the spicy yakisoba last week, so I think that's our watermark for what mishaps get left in. But yeah, no, Kevin, I think you have always been my favorite photographer. And yeah, you have
thanks.
been a great sorry. I should have said
Jordan
brackets
car,
automotive, but
yeah,
I did mean car, but also you are both very influential on the way I take photos. There, do you feel better? Does that feel good, Victoria?
We feel equally good, yes.
No, I agree. I was super stoked when Kevin said he had a book coming out because one of the earliest me coming out in the automotive world memories I have is it was, I think, early pandemic that the two of us went together to the top of that weird parking garage in the middle of downtown Houston that had the insanely cool architecture.
Yeah.
And you made a video of your 911, and I brought my Aero deck up there, and you took pictures of the two of them together, and they insanely cool.
That was so much fun. Yeah, we had some really good times. That garage, and didn't it turn out that was like the company that you worked for? Like that was
Yes.
their garage.
Yes,
You didn't work in downtown Houston, but it was a funny coincidence.
No, when I worked at NASA, I worked for a government contractor because, of course, I did. And the government contractor I worked for, it turned out, also did a bunch of other stuff, including oil and gas prospecting, and they were also implicated in the Iraqi burn pit scandals.
Of course.
Oh, cool!
But that was their like international HQ from which they decided which chemicals they would burn in Iraq.
Yeah,
Okay,
I suppose.
I was like, did they invent the concept of a pit you light on fire? Because I don't think that's like a patent. Like,
I don't think
No,
you
they just did it really
shit.
close to a bunch of like enlisted guys and gave them all like turbo cancer.
Sucks.
Wow. Do you remember also when we left? Because it was like we shot in the evening. It was summer. We shot the cars. I was just filming the video about focal lengths, and you were extremely helpful in that one. And that was one of my most popular videos, and which I don't really do tutorial videos now because I'm so booked up with other things. But when we were leaving the garage, we were driving out, and it was night, and it was like there was a DeLorean like randomly parked on one of the floors in the garage on like the 6th
Yes.
or 7th floor, and it was just like, what the heck? It was so bizarre. But I thought when you mentioned the photo shoot, I thought you were going to mention also during pandemic when we went down to Galveston with your van and shot
Yes.
photos.
That was also an extremely fun one. That was when I got back from my trip. That was my welcome home shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we went to the same place and shot with the LC 500
Yes.
for another video.
Yeah,
when you moved,
that was when I was moving.
my best
Actually,
video helper.
Actually, if I remember correctly, the LC500 that was a Lexus press car you had gotten, and you were talking about like how to shoot rich paint. And it was the day after my very first big girl breakup.
Oh,
And I was very, very, messed up because like I was coming out and like the entire world had ended. It was like, this had to have been like, early 2021. So like the world had ended. All context had collapsed. I had been out for all of 7 months, which is basically the scariest time in the entire world. Everybody's always like, oh, the scariest time is before you come out. And yes, it is very scary. But what's scarier is 7 months later. Especially when your older, cooler girlfriend just dumped you.
I seem to remember I'm simplifying, but my memory is that part of what instigated it was the Buren model that you bought. That was like the last straw.
Right. No, I deep Tory lore. I bought a 1 of 1 9-foot tall replica model, 1/24th scale, I believe, of the Soviet Energia Buran launch vehicle. And I bought it on eBay for $800 in 2021. And I was like, I picked it up in our 1994 Chevrolet Suburban from some guy in Houston. I had a crazy story about it that got killed before it ever saw the light of day, which is a bummer because it was insane. I brought it home. I got it all set up. I was like, this is the coolest. I am so cool. I'm 6 months on hormones. I have a 9-foot tall model of the Soviet Union's greatest rocket ship that, was failed by its state collapsing rather than any issue with the rocket itself. And then like literally that night, my girlfriend at the time, who I'd been dating for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, was like, yeah, I think this was a little bit too far for me.
Well, if I can make it about me again, I remember.
Yeah.
You remember I had a picture of me next to that at NASA.
Yes, I do.
From when I was like 10 years old or 13 years old or something. It was at part of the Johnson Space Center at some point before it ended up in some guy's garage and then in your Suburban.
You owned stolen, like, Space Center property.
Okay, I did not steal it. I will say I did beat the Kennedy Space Center to buying it by an hour.
Wow.
Because they reached out to the guy after I bought it, and they were like, hey, why is it off? Did somebody buy it? We wanted it. And he was like, sorry, some very enthusiastic, freshly out transgender lady is on her way in her 454 cubic inch Chevrolet Suburban right now.
Where is it now?
It is in my storage unit in Houston, Texas.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay, that's amazing. I was going to text
still
you about
control
this,
it.
but I wasn't sure if it was like a sore subject.
No, I still have it. I want to get down there.
I feared the worst.
That storage unit is mostly full of like boy clothes and Hot Wheels cars, so I really don't like. It hasn't been an utmost priority to get all this stuff, and I've had a pretty unstable period of my life from when I left Houston to when I got to Seattle, and then things have calmed down somewhat more recently. It's just that it's really expensive to get a vehicle from Houston, Texas to Seattle, Washington, with enough space to carry a 9-foot tall model of a rocket ship, because the base in it weighs 300 pounds, because it's really heavy. Yeah, well, so it doesn't like fall over. It's like a solid chunk of steel inside the base. Wooden lifter body, hollow aluminum, rocket launch tubes, I guess, for lack of a better term. Boosters. That's what the word I'm looking for.
SRBs.
Yes.
Wasn't that
Yeah. But I can't like fold it up. Like it's just that big. It kind of loosely disassembles, but like it doesn't. I still need a vehicle that has at least 7 feet of like length, so I have to like tie it to the roof of something. I had an idea where I wanted to like take it in a pickup truck and drive it up through the American West and hit a bunch of like Cold War like missile sites and nuclear testing locations, but nobody seemed super stoked to give me $2,000 for gasoline and a free pickup truck.
Oh, you're telling me in this current automotive media environment, no one's paying for that one, Victoria?
Yeah, it's a rough time to be a gonzo journalist with a rocket ship to retrieve.
I was thinking the other day about the sad. Do you know where the Mini ended up, Kevin? My wonderful Mini I bought from my mother.
No, that was a great car.
That was a great car. Until I paid $600 to have the AC fixed, and then it just wasn't fixed.
Oh,
and then
no.
I drove it all the way up here, only to realize that on the drive here it had cracked the block very slightly.
Oh my god.
The block just died. It was an 06 supercharged
that
Mini.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an R53. Yeah. This is like the sweet spot of minis. Everyone says this was the most reliable of them, and I still believe it. Lots of cars have the block crack like that, but yeah, that was the kind of the supercharged ones, the one that people liked, and you let me drive it, which was really cool. I drove a GP recently of that era, like the 07 GP or 06, and it was I don't know if it was everything I hoped it would be, but I did always think that was such a cool car. Like
they're still cool.
No, of course.
They're very cool. They just have all decided they want to rattle apart on the interior at this point if they got driven at all.
Yeah, they do have.
Probably
they do
also
suffer.
The exterior.
Like that was the first. That was the first generation of BMW owned Minis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they still were British. Like very.
Unfortunately, yes. A
sort
little.
Of. I mean, they were
reliability-wise. I feel like
they were produced there. It was like I think the design and engineering was not necessarily there, but they did make a point to still build them in the UK.
Oh, I just meant spiritually British in that they like are like wonderful little cars that kill themselves because they get too sad after 100,000 miles.
Yeah. Well, my wife still has a 2012 base Mini, and that is her car, and she adores it.
Is that still going?
It's still going. It's inside and has like 60,000 miles. And then there's, but like I've never had like suspension like leak black oil before in a car, but this one did. I'm like, why is there like a black puddle under the like right rear wheel and subframe? And it's like, oh
You're
yeah,
like,
it's got
that's not
liquid.
oil.
Yeah, it's got like oil-filled bushings that are like $2,000 to replace. So that's just something to worry about.
You got to worry about your Mini Cooper's humors.
Yes,
It's black bile.
yeah, it's bloodlet. We gotta get some leeches.
What is an oil change if not automotive bloodletting?
That is a title right there.
Automotive bloodletting. Victoria, since I last looked at the notes, you put actual things in here.
Yeah, there was just one thing, and this is actually a wonderful segue because we're talking about British cars. I am traveling to the UK in an indeterminate amount of time. One, because I like a small degree of strategic ambiguity about my location at all times, so I am not ambushed by haters. But two, also because I don't know when this episode is coming out, so I might be lying. But I was like preparing for this trip, and I checked like the travel recommendations of the UK government for like, what do I have to do if I'm going to drive there? Because it turns out in like the larger sort of Glasgow, Seattle, transgender woman cloud
exchange program?
polycule, there's the general associated, like all of these women. I am like one of the only ones with a valid driver's license in either continent. So I'm probably going to rent a car and drive. And it's really funny because they're just like, yeah, fuck it. American driver's license? Sure. You learned how to, like, you passed an Ohio driver's ed course when you were 15 and a half years old. Go wild. They don't want to know anything else. Like, they'll sue you if you, like, sneeze a little too coarsely in the direction of J.K. Rowling. But, like, you learned how to drive in Medina on your mom's Chevrolet Venture. You parallel parked once in the past 15 years. Yeah, you're probably good to like handle London.
I was there a couple years ago to go to Goodwood with a couple friends, and he rented like this MG crossover. And it was like, this Chinese, it was like, oh, that's kind of like a Mercedes and kind of like a Mazda. And like, and then you'd see another one on the road that was like a completely different luxury crossover looking in design. But we were driving it, and I'm sitting in the the front seat, the passenger seat, and I've driven right-hand drive cars, no problem. But being and I wasn't driving, but just being the passenger on the right-hand drive roads, there was a lot of times where it's like we'd come out of a roundabout or come through an intersection where I'm like, whoa, like that's not where I would have put the car. Where I'm like, oh yeah, I would not know what to do because just you understand on a straight road driving in the opposite lane, but how that resolves in intersections is interesting and terrifying. And I felt like I was like very much behind the eight ball all the time, where I was like, oh yeah, I would have done that wrong. Good thing I'm not driving.
Yeah, I'm definitely like a little, not like crazy anxious, but like because I've driven like a ton of stuff, but I've never driven outside of America before. Because I've only left America like twice in my life. I went to Toronto for a weekend when I was like 15 years old, and I couldn't drive. And I went to Glasgow last year to see November Kelly. And I was there. I didn't drive at all. So we're only probably going to drive for like a day, and I think we're going to go to like rural places. But I am definitely like a little like, this is going to be an interesting experience.
No, you'll be fine. It'll be great.
Yeah,
you'll have like the right attitude. But for me, I was like, oh, this was more challenging than I thought. I was like, oh yeah, I could do this, and I was like, oh, maybe I can't.
When I was in Japan,
I had the wrong approach.
Yeah, when I was in Japan, being in the front passenger seat of a car was one of those things where I go, for whatever reason, this is the thing that completely flips my brain orientation wise, because like Germany's left-hand drive, like
like
Germany
the rest
felt
of
normal.
Europe is like easy, like it's just like driving here, pretty much, like remarkably similar.
Toyota, I didn't know about if you went to the EU, they do like Americans to have like whatever. I think it's a scam by AAA or whatever.
It is,
like
yes.
the international.
I'm
like,
like,
I think this is just a tax for idiots. Yeah, I didn't have that, so there was a little chance that I was going to get to putter around in an LFA. And I did not have that little piece of paper, so Toyota would not let me putter around their parking lot in an LFA. And it's still one of those things that haunts me. They would have let me driven on the Nürburgring, though. That's the crazy thing. They're like, well, I mean, it's the closed Nürburgring, so like you don't need like the German license. And I'm just like,
did you say
that's
yes?
Scary. No, God, no.
Why not?
Victoria, I wasn't gonna stuff a fucking the little Toyota GR cups. I wasn't gonna stuff one of those at the Nürburgring on my first press trip. No.
Wait, your first press trip? They sent you to Germany?
Well, it's because someone who is very big, who still works at Motorsport, who should not be named, turned down a trip to the Toyota Wind Tunnel and Museum and to go check out their new customer racing efforts in Europe. So, Alistair Moffat, the most British man to ever live, their former press officer, he liked me. So he was just like, Jordan, I have this budget for a trip this guy turned down. Do you want to do this trip instead? And I was just like, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So
that's crazy.
It's definitely the worst money that Toyota Motorsports ever spent on a press trip.
Not true. That's not true.
You're still talking about it. This is money that's still going. You're talking about it now.
No, I'm just thinking of a different press trip I took. Well, I probably shouldn't. It's whatever.
Yeah. I think our first episode of this show has more downloads than the Hooniverse articles I wrote about that trip saw in terms of like traffic. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
I do. I don't think
it was good.
You can't do that to yourself though, because like I did a really intensely long. I went to like Burlington, Vermont for 2 days to like go do like hours and hours of interviews with like Vermont Sports Car and talk to Travis Pastrana and did this like hugely reported piece. And I was so proud of it. And I think maybe 500 people ever read it. So like, you can't do that to yourself. Like,
that way lies
madness.
Into.
That's for the private equity guys to look at and be like, we should definitely kill all modern journalism. But for us, that's like that's not for us to know.
The private equity behind Hooniverse is money Jeff Glucker did not put into his Mustang. He finally drove that thing, and I said the nice version of, buddy, the last time that ran, I was still in high school. But like, I'm like, I just turned 30. The last time you wrote about driving that thing, I was a senior in high school. So,
that vehicle was a gender ago.
That vehicle was an entire half a country ago for me.
Yeah, there was one thing, actually. This isn't even super duper related to like the UK specifically, but just driving in Europe. One of the coolest things that I remember Kevin ever putting out that just like appealed to every single interest I have was when you went to, I believe it was the German factory where they build 911s. And you like rode back in a DHL 747.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And shot like pictures of that trip. Where was I tried to find it so I could like throw it in the show notes, but I couldn't find where that article was. And I kind of just want like a 3-foot wide print of it for my living room.
I can arrange that, but it was for Auto Week.
Okay.
Through a weird circumstance, I got to do 2 like Porsche press trips in Germany for Auto Week in like a 3-month span right before COVID. And I think that would have been a cover story. And then they like a week before were like, actually, we're not doing printing. We're not doing print anymore. But, but it was like, I flew to Germany. We went from Stuttgart. We were in 992s. This was like a year after the launch of the 992, but these were US press cars. It was 4 US press cars. I think they did 8 total. They did 2 waves, but weirdly, like I wasn't partnered with anyone. I had my own car and drove from Stuttgart to Leipzig, which is in the former East Germany, where they have their factory where they build Cayenne and I think no, not Macan, Cayenne and Panamera, and the factory was built to build the Carrera GT. And so
Okay.
we got to tour the factory. They also build like I think like a lot of they do some Continental GT stuff. There's a lot of like VW Group stuff there. But yeah, we spent the night in Leipzig and it was amazing. And then we went to the airport. It was right there, and it's this big commercial like cargo airport. And the cars went on the plane, and we went on the plane, and it was a 747. It was the first time I flew on a 747 out of two times total, but it was incredible. And so the entire lower deck is the cargo hold. And then
Yeah.
upstairs is like the crew compartment, and where the pilots, obviously the pilots are up there, but there's like a little crew compartment, and they've like ripped out half the seat. You know, it was first class at one point, and they put in like bad seats. And they ripped out half of them, and like all the overhead compartments are filled with like ramen and snacks and stuff. And there's a little kitchen you can have access to. Like it was so like functional. And I still keep up with the guy that was like the flight engineer on that flight, like on Instagram and stuff. Like we message and. This guy Ian, who's super cool, but yeah, we got to go down in the cargo compartment like during the flight too. It got really cold. Actually, the whole plane got really cold. And I think I put in the article that like I sat like the pilot, like the door was just open, and so we took off, and I think so there was like three other journalists, three, and they were like someone sat up in the cockpit during takeoff and someone else sat there during landing. And I was kind of like, while we were in flight after we had taken off and had hit cruising altitude, I like went up there and then I like dropped my phone and the pilot had to turn around. I was like, okay, I'll just let myself out of the cockpit. I've lost cockpit privileges. You don't have to say anything. I'm just going to go away. But we took off and it was dark, and then we got above the clouds and we are like going towards the setting sun, and the sky was just red, like out the cockpit. It was so amazing. And then I'm dragging this on really long, but we landed in Cincinnati airport,
what whiplash.
which is in Kentucky actually. Spent the night there, and then we drove these cars down, same cars. Like, so I moved the car, like they lowered it, I drove it off the pallet and drove it back to the hotel like less than 24 hours after I had driven it into customs on a different continent. Which was just awesome. And then we did like Tail of the Dragon, and we dropped it off at Atlanta at Porsche headquarters, where it became a press car and was abused by terrible people for a year before who knows what happened. But I would, if I ever like had money and the space for a lot of cars, I would love to like buy that car someday in like my fantasy world, like buy that specific car.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but they gave me like all the customs paperwork for the car. I have no idea why. I don't know if they were supposed to. So
somehow
I have,
the
like,
tax burden of that import was on you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was just like a red 992 Carrera S. But it was very weird because I wasn't partnered with anybody, so it was like my car, and I drove it like 900 something miles over that, basically
on two
like
continents.
4 or 5 days on two continents. Yeah, including the autobahn, where we were in like a 4-car train, maybe it was 5 cars, and we were being led by this guy that like lives there.
Oh
So
yeah,
he knows where you can speed and everything. Because the thing about the autobahn is like, it is not all flat out. Obviously, there's a lot of slowdowns, there's a lot of constructions, and there's traffic. But he knew where you could just go and just go. And so, regrettably, I did not hit 180 miles an hour. I hit like 179, and a lesser person would lie, but I don't. I hit 179.
That's why you're the one man we're going to allow on the podcast ever.
That's an honor. What an honor.
Yeah, when I feel like a lot of people who have never been around the industry, they hear about these press trips and then they just it does feel like, they are all for content. The world's worst word for
content,
all of this.
brackets TM.
Yeah, but like I truly cannot like, it is someone's job at Porsche to cook up experiences like that. And I'm surprised that's not like a thing that they then tried to sell to like rich people, you know?
I mean, like,
Yeah.
even that's like a thing that's funny to me is like that's even a little selling point for Volvo, because they'll let you buy your car, pick it up in Sweden and drive it around Sweden for a little bit, and then you drop it at the airport. You don't fly back with it, obviously, because I don't think they're just going to let some soccer mom who listens to NPR hang out with a DHL pilot for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, a lot of companies have the European delivery, and I don't know the exact specifics, but because it becomes a used car when it enters the US, so it's taxed differently, so you save like a bunch of money. So you basically, the trip is paid for by the cost of the car being removed.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I made, and it's been like that since the 60s, because the guy that I made this video about, this guy that had this 912, this original owner, and he passed on. But I made this video about it for his twin daughters, and he had done that in the 60s. And he basically was like, I'm going to buy this car in Europe, camp out of it for 3 months for the summer, and then like take it to the US and sell it, and it'll be free. But like, you know, because he was going to get money back basically, or
That's
whatever.
insane.
Or he was going to like sell it like new, and then but then he fell in love with the car and kept it until he died like 50 years later.
Yeah.
So.
That's it. Like, the idea of camping for 3 months out of a 60s 912 is truly like, God, Porsche culture used to be cool, like go hard as hell. There's a lady I shot for We Deserve This, the you know, lookbook I did,
I
and
know
she
what you're
had
talking about. She's the badass.
The blue 911S.
She's like this car tried to kill me a couple times.
Yeah,
but I tamed it.
Yeah, and she bought it in like the 80s for like, you know, $5 and like a case of beer. And tracked it for her entire life, and daily drove it for most, I think, until she was basically close to retirement age. And then her daily driver became either her weekend car was a like 1992 silver 911 Carrera, or her G-Wagon pre-independent suspension. Because she was an absolute real one.
Last defensible G-Wagon purchase?
Yes.
Man, G-Wagons, I hate how cool they are. And my friend bought a G55, like a 2009 G55, like a couple months ago. And I drove it, and I was like, first of all, it's that engine, the supercharged 55, it's so good. It is so amazing. It was like, how is this responsive and like torquey and just brutal? Like, it was awesome. And then it sounds better than like any AMG, because it has the exhaust pipes are like 2 feet long.
Yeah,
and they come out the sides. So it's just like,
it's
was
the Dodge
so good.
Viper of family haulers.
Yeah. I actually had a Mercedes thing to bring up.
Yeah,
because you talked about Mercedes-Benz and like that whole like whatever business they got into in the 1930s and stuff. You know, you mentioned Victoria, you brought us up. And what if I was like, I know Mercedes did the Nazi stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to add, I'm just adding a data point. I'm not defending Mercedes-Benz. I will say that when you go to the museum in Stuttgart, they have like their car history, and they also flex that like, yeah, we have an elevator so large that we've got 4 buses on the 5th floor. But they have like world history, they have events, and they are like really upfront about like, yeah, Mercedes-Benz did bad stuff. There was fascists. We were on the side of the fascists. It was terrible. Here's photos from the Olympics. Jesse Owens like kicked everyone's asses and humiliated Hitler. Mercedes was on the wrong side. Mercedes was on the side of the fascists. So I do respect that, because when you go to the Porsche Museum, they're just like, look away from this 15-year gap right here. The Dr. Ferdinand Porsche's history. Like,
it's like watching the Minions movie when there's a sudden gap in their resume.
Yeah, they're like, here's a tank designed by Dr. Ferdinand Porsche. It's like, we don't know what the records are murky on where this was used or what theater exactly. Like, it is a little bit different. So I do respect like how Mercedes handles it.
That's fair.
They designed agricultural equipment for the German army in the 1940s. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing is, Ferdinand designed like one tank, and it wasn't technically a tank. It was a like mobile artillery gun, which are different things because people will yell at you about it. Holy hell, I've learned that one the hard way.
Am I going to get yelled at for saying tank?
No, if any of our listeners yell at you for saying tank, I will ban them. But also, the most important thing about the Fairy's tank is that it sucked. Absolutely terrible. So
like
yeah, maybe that's why they
Beetle.
don't want to own
like,
up to it. They're like, well, the Nazi thing is, but the tank was pretty bad, so we should definitely try to disavow that one.
Well, my friend who's a former Porsche mechanic now lives a life of leisure despite being much younger than me. Jordan Ramelier, Australian. You met him.
Oh yeah, I know that Jordan. Yeah,
Victoria met him. You went to his shop, Modern Air Cooled.
Oh yes, yeah. Cool shop.
So he believes. I don't know if this is the thing. He's like, yeah, like Ferdinand Porsche like developed or like developed like dry sump basically applications for the like Messerschmitts so they could fly with like the inverted engine and everything, and that's why like Porsche had dry sump. I don't know if that's true
or not, but I believe it.
Yeah, he
was pretty entwined.
Yeah,
he was very entwined. Yes. Yeah. Speaking of, so I guess context for our listeners is that Kevin does know quite a lot about Porsches because he has the only air-cooled 911 I've ever driven in my whole life. And it is when I like conjure up an image of a Porsche brackets positive in my mind instead of Porsche brackets negative. I think of your car. It's a 911. It's a 1980 911 SC. Right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah, with like it's 5-speed. Like I don't remember what engine was actually in that one, but it's like the important part is that it's gorgeous and it has the cool like martini stripe option on it.
Yeah, well, which is not original, but I added it because I'm basic.
Well, that's what you're okay. But I know that this is something about Porsche culture that I think people like forget sometimes. We are allowed to change things on your car if it looks cool. As a matter of fact, we encourage it. That is an official stance of this podcast. Is if it didn't come on your car, we're like it would look better with it. You should just change it.
You should just do it.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Yeah. I wish you could have driven it when it had like the different wheels that are lighter. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I have sports seats now. Anyway, it's leave it. This is so cliche to have the first cisgender guest on your show and make me talk about CIS, which is the continuous injection system of the 911 SC. But that CIS is the ignition on the 911 SC, and I think that's part of like what makes it really exciting. Is this? It's this flawed, terrible fuel injection system that is like a hybrid between mechanical and electronic. It's like the earliest days of electronic, like Atari level electronic fuel injection. So it kind of has the failure points of both. And it's continuous because it kind of, as much air comes in, it dumps that amount of fuel. There's like nothing else to it. So it is like really kind of chaotic and spitty. And so to me, it like drives, I think it is more interesting and fun than like later, Carreras, even like going to 84. Like they changed it to a more precise. There's that precision. That's what makes cars bad, right? So they've made a more precise electronic system that doesn't just dump fuel sporadically into everything. And so, the CIS is pretty good on those cars. That system was on a bunch of cars in that era, but on the 911, it's decent. But Chris Perkins, I don't know if he's good friend of mine, and he's driven like everything, and so unbiased, he's like, your SC is really good. It's one of the good ones because he's driven like a 959 and like 901s and like early S and stuff.
So what he's saying is that it's one of the good ones because it's cis.
Don't put
that evil on Perkins.
No. I'm walking this back.
Does yours have a cursed DME relay? Did the DME relay make it to the 911, or is that just a special 944 owner's hell?
It's a thing. It is on the car. I think it's more cursed on the Carrera.
Gotcha.
I think I have one, and I think no. Mine doesn't have that. I have a fuel pump relay, which is cursed.
There
But
you go.
every time I've broken down, which is like, I'm holding up like more than 6 fingers. Every time I've broken down, it wasn't the fuel pump relay. They're always like, "Oh, keep an extra of these." I'm like, "Okay, well, I've got a lot of them. They're not helping me."
Driving around with a small travel trailer full of spare parts. I will say, this sounds the fuel injection thing is interesting because I thought I had dealt with the most cursed German fuel injection when I dealt with the K-Jetronic on the Volkswagen Scirocco I tried to pick up last year.
That's what it is.
Oh, seriously?
That's CIS.
Oh,
That's CIS.
okay. Well, that stymied me entirely. The whole reason I don't currently have a free Volkswagen Scirocco is because it turns out that is a terrible way to fuel a car. And let me tell you, there are so many parts in it that Volkswagen was like, yeah, we'll try this for like 20 minutes and then never use these again. And so trying to get replacement things for things like, I don't know, because the system is pressurized at like 100 psi or whatever, and from like really early in the stream, it causes a lot of failures that are not kind of like, it's not like, oh shoot, it's leaking a little bit of fuel. There's like a drip every 5 minutes. It's like, here's an aerosolized mist of gasoline surrounding the rear of the car, which was something I didn't want to have explode when I was in the middle of Wyoming, because it'd be like, oh no, I have to put my hair out. It's on fire. Which bathroom do I run into to dunk my head in the sink?
The automotive industries.
It was a Scirocco, yeah.
What's the deal with those?
They're not
cool.
good.
They're Volkswagen. Okay. They're Golfs that fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where this is not me as like this is like I am not a Porsche snob, but
that's why you're on the show, yeah.
I appreciate all different kinds of cars. That is a car where I'm like, I don't know if that's worth having. Like in my mind, a Scirocco is like an 8 Series, but with a Volkswagen badge. And I mean that derogatory, where it's like all the maintenance of that, all the maintenance and pain, but like you get this like slightly sleeker Golf.
I would love to refute you, but also I had to take a 2.5 day Amtrak train back on a Superliner car that had broken toilets because the car didn't work.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, the train was from the car.
What happened to the car? Did you have to get it towed somewhere?
No, so it was at my friend's place in Minneapolis, and they were like, "Yeah, you can have it if we can get it working. You can have it." And it had been doing really well, and then it sprung a fuel leak right before I got there, and so they fixed that, and then fixing that fuel leak caused something slightly further down the chain to spring a fuel leak, and then we fixed that, and then I went to like 15 different shops trying to fix the next fuel leak that sprung up, and that one we couldn't get solved in time, so I was like, "All right, I'm just gonna book an Amtrak back," and I took the Empire Builder. And the Superliner 1 cars from 1979 are looking a little tired because the toilets kept breaking.
Wow. That sounds like a true K-Jetronic experience.
K-Jetronic's a really good name for a thing that sucks, though. Like, right?
Yes.
I just had in my 944, it was the cursed Bosch DME relay. So sometimes it would just not start when it was hot, and that either meant I had to hit the back of the block with a motor right on where the wiring harness met the motor, or I had to take a DME relay off, blow in it for a while, put it back in, and then if that one didn't work, I had a backup one that worked sometimes. So I was just swapping relays like they were Lego pieces at times. The 944 is a wonderful, wonderful car.
These are charming analog problems with real fixes that you can do, just like a Nintendo cartridge. Honestly.
Exactly.
That sounds cool. Your 944 had the cool Heck blend also.
Yeah.
Or as Chris Wynn calls it, Heckin' Blade.
There's a Heckin' Blade. I saw there's a white 944 in Pittsburgh that has that.
Ooh.
And it's the only other 944 I've seen outside of like a museum grade example that has the nameplate blade. And I'm just like, there was part of me that was just like, is this my car? Did it get resprayed, not guards red? Because I think I looked and my car was not guards red originally. It was resprayed guards red.
Oh my God. Porsche
what was
people
it
when confronted
originally?
with a color that isn't Guards red. What if it were Guards red?
I think it was the code was, it might have been a black car or something. The Porsche dealership in Austin was confused at best by the provenance of my 944 because the block was also not originally from that 944.
Maybe somebody
But it wasn't cracked.
Maybe somebody
Was it cracked?
Maybe somebody flew it over on a 747 as a used car.
Right.
they just assembled it from the rejects bin in Dusseldorf or wherever they build these
They'd let you do that
things.
with the R8. Do you know that they'd let you do that bullshit with the R8?
No.
Let you dodge new car taxes and also buy it used from yourself.
Flying my brand new Audi R8 directly from Berlin to like Helena or Missoula so I can land and immediately put it on Montana plates, dodging as many taxes as possible.
This time last year, I shot an R8 that went on Bring a Trailer, photographed it, and it got purchased on Bring a Trailer by Seal.
No
The
shit.
singer-songwriter.
Hell
yeah. Yeah.
Fucking in the arms of the fuck. Oh no,
Yeah,
what is
he
that?
bought like the final edition. It was like, the 2022 or like the last version of the R8. It's silver.
Those were cool.
With a dumb PPF all over it, which really sucks.
No.
I almost never have to shoot cars. Like, it was clear, but like it really is havoc with a polarizer filter. It's not good.
Oh,
you basically have to
yeah.
take the filter off. And so luckily, like new cars, like press cars don't have it, and like people don't put it on classic cars, so I don't come across it that much. But if I'm shooting someone's like 2019 exotic car, then there's a good chance they'll have this stuff that adds like weird black swirls onto curved surfaces.
I never even realized that it would do that.
Every
Yeah,
F8
it's not
Tributo looks like shit because of it. Yeah. Kevin, how many cars are you shooting for Bring a Trailer these days?
It's a good number. I have some people that I work with. I have mostly one person that is like a small boutique dealer that is 7 minutes from my house. And so I can just go and I'll take a car and shoot it for 2.5 hours or 2 hours and then bring it back. And then I take some I take some jobs from people that find me if it can be really convenient for me. But I've just been I'm not trying to avoid it, but it is like it's like I've got other stuff going on. This is like ostensibly like what I do, but I've just kind of like overloaded myself with projects currently. So I enjoy doing it, and so I did write in the notes that I have driven 3 E-types this year.
Yeah,
year. It is February. It is still February as of this record, and I've driven 3 E-types. Which is weird.
The last thing I wanted to hit before we got into this, I've read the word urban outlaw so many times in our next blurb, but one last thing. Can we speak on how weirdly stacked the Houston car scene is? I feel like Houston is one of those cities it is all... Houston Cars and Coffee is the most nouveau riche cars and coffee. But also, sometimes they'll bring, like, the Ferrari dealership will fire up a Schumacher car for the crowd of people. And it's a weird vibe. Like, the vibes are either complete nightmare, Mustang crash, or it is just like, oh, some genius, some master of taste and industry of Houston has brought a Spiker C8 in the good orange and silver weird color scheme out from, you'd get weird shit up
with
from Mexico.
Giant chrome steering wheel with 4 spokes.
That would kill you instantly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the cars from Mexico, you'd see like a I can't think of anything, but like before they were illegal, like Clio V6 and stuff like that.
V6.
Those would come.
And I was going to say, do you remember, like, the note of, like, I remember Houston Cars and Coffee, obviously that was really my scene, but we went to Catalina a few times.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so Catalina's bad now. It's not good.
Uh-huh.
There is for the listeners, there's a car meetup that started at a coffee shop. The coffee shop's called Catalina Coffee. Great coffee. Go there, get coffee. The car thing on Sunday just got like kind of overwhelming, and too many people. And it's not even like people coming with Mustangs and doing stupid stuff, although that does happen. But it's just like there's so many like brand new PTS Porsches. There's so many like brand. It's just like yet another thing where like rich people have ruined it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
Honestly,
like I remember.
and I know that was like starting to happen, but like 4 or 5 years ago, it'd be like, oh, like one guy brought a Lamborghini this week, and now it's like there's like a row of just like brand new skittle colored bullshit cars.
Yeah.
And that's why I was gonna say when you were talking about Guards Red earlier, I was like, it's almost like now like uh kind of exotic to buy a Porsche in Guards Red because
Really.
so many people no because so like everyone has to do PTS, like all these people do are like bankers and they buy like some green that or some bright thing, or they buy ruby stone and they're like, look how subversive and cool I am, and they get all this dumb internet, they buy these colors for internet cred and resale value, and it the value doesn't go down, so it works out for them. But it's just like so if you just buy like a standard color, if you're like, I'm getting a white GT3, I've never seen a white GT3 in the current generation. Like I've never even seen a
No,
picture of
yeah.
one. They're all PTS, they're all paint to
Uh-huh.
sample, everything is paint to
Uh-huh.
sample. It's like it's like 10 years ago when they had like the Turbo S. Like back in the 80s, I'm not, this isn't even like that nerdy of Porsche stuff, but like back in the 80s, Turbo S was like off the menu, like secret menu, in and out style,
Uh-huh.
where it's like you got to know someone to buy a Turbo S. It wasn't even marked. It had like a weird exhaust tip. That's and like other shit inside. Like, but Turbo S 10 years ago became like you had to buy it. It was like if you don't have the S turbo, it's like what are you even doing? He
Yep.
became like the kind of guilt upsell. And where was I going with
I
this?
don't know. It was
Anyway,
the like
Rich
it was
people
the like
ruin
well, of
everything.
course.
rich people are ruining everything. Yeah, is basically what it is. And so yeah, rich people have been ruining Porsches for as long as there have been Porsches. Like I get that, but now with the combination of social media cred and internet clout, like it is worse than ever.
Well,
So
boy,
yeah,
howdy, have you teed us up
boy howdy.
nicely for my
Yeah.
news item
Oh,
for this
good
episode.
God.
Um, so we have one news item that we'd like to discuss here. So RM Sotheby's, which is an auction house that's been around for I don't know since like the British Empire was still a thing. They're offering what they call the 1968 Porsche 911 Urban Outlaw Starter Kit. Sorry, Jordan's doing the jerk off motion in an auction partnership with everyone's favorite urban outlaw, Magnus Walker. Now, just to like lay it out, this is a disassembled 911, like a shell and an engine and a bunch of like hype beast parts, including, I shit you not, a pair of Magnus Walker branded Nike Dunks. That they laid out on the floor of a big warehouse, like a big Tamiya model
So I
kit.
thought you were going to get to the hype beast stuff. When were you getting into the hype beast
Yeah.
stuff?
I'm just telling you, that's what he was cool. He had a he's.
I'm gonna
I
price
gotta
a pair
explain
of
who
those
he
dunks
is.
right now.
Wait, what?
I'm pricing a pair of those dunks right now because I forgot when those came out.
Yeah, they'll probably sell it for $12 billion. If you do not know who Magnus Walker is, he is a fashion designer from the UK who started a streetwear brand, I think, fashion label in Los Angeles. He got really into Porsches in the 90s, and then became famous and wealthier. He wrote a book called Urban Outlaw, Dirt Don't Slow You Down. Someone made a documentary about him. He describes himself as a serial entrepreneur. I think this is kind of the crux of where sort of I'm like, oh. He's got like 25 different Hot Wheels cars based on like his Porsche collection. You can buy or like unlock his cars in like NFS games. And he's got these, Nikes, and he's got all sorts of, he's kind of like embedded himself in the milieu of car culture. Personally, I don't understand how he had a fashion label because he looks like a guy from Duck Dynasty who got really into BBC Sherlock, but then fell on hard times.
I don't think he made any of his money from fashion label. I don't
No.
think that's like, I don't think that's it. He owns a lot of real estate in downtown LA that he bought for cheap. Like in the arts district. He owned a lot of stuff in the arts district that he bought for cheap. I mean, and just like with Porsches, he was in it. I'll get to his Porsches, but I have heard alleged that like a lot of his money, like that a lot of his properties are rented for like adult films.
Yes,
that's what I have heard.
I have also heard
like the rumor that goes around.
Fascinating.
He was also allegedly.
I don't want to cut you off. But I do. But I have like, so my knowledge of Magnus Walker. I'm not going to say Magnus. We're not like on good name terms. Or anything. I met him once.
Same.
He kind of rose on the scene in like 2013 or 2012, and that was kind of when air-cooled Porsches were first like hitting and becoming kind of like internet cloud and stuff. And that was like when you know what I mean? Like before that, they were cheap.
Yeah.
And he had it was, I don't know if he was clued into that, but I mean, it was kind of a rising tide thing. He reached a lot of popularity, but he was doing cool things with Porsches. So you can go back. He was a guy that like tuned, customized, and tracked these cars.
Yes.
You can go find like Pelican posts from him in like the 2000s, the aughts.
What is a Pelican post? I'm sorry.
Pelican Parts is like one of the big old school Porsche forums.
Okay, sorry. Yeah,
Jordan knows,
I am the sole person on this podcast right now who's never owned a Porsche, so I'm just like, ooh, I'm sorry.
Jordan's on PelicanParts.com. Like, what the hell is a DME relay? But Pelican Parts is like a forum.
Just work.
And it's a forum that's been around since like 2002. So you can see, you'll find posts from forever ago when you search. But he was on there, and he was just a guy, and he would tune these cars, and he kind of got this notoriety, whatever the good is. Notoriety can be good or bad. He was the good one, where people liked the customization he did, these kind of like little touches, the details, the drilled handles, the lightweight stuff. And he used the cars on the track. He abused them. I think he was probably like a decent driver, and it got to the point where people kind of like sought out these cars. He would sell a car that he had like tweaked and customized and done custom paint on, and it would kind of be like a value add because it's like, oh, hey, this is cool. You know, it was his own spin. You know, the outlaw thing is like Rod Emery with 356s, and he was kind of doing something similar with 911s, and no one else was really doing it. A lot of people had forgotten about these cars at this time. They were just cheap old sports cars,
which is insane.
And he became like, you know, known for this. And then like people, you know, and then when he had like, you know, a collection of like 6 or 8 of them at this really cool spot in downtown LA Arts District, people started making videos about him and featuring him on Speed Hunters and stuff, and he became a guy.
I was going to say, this feels like, I remember him first rising, I think, to prominence with Speed Hunters articles, because that was like a huge part of my like teenage car fascination.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there was an amazing photographer named Sean Klingelhofer who made some like photos that everyone's seen, like, you know, downtown LA, like under, you know, the thing with the light passing through, like that underground spot.
Oh yeah, I've shot a Volkswagen CC press car there.
Yeah, so he shot some of Magnus cars like on the 6th Street Bridge and all this stuff back in like 2013, 2012. And so when I met Magnus in 2013, I just wanted to talk about Sean Klingelhofer. I was like, oh, I love the work that he did with your cars. He was like kind of taking it back. He was very polite. Yeah. He was very nice. But yeah, so and then he became like an influencer. And then he became like, you know, fast forward 10 years later, and he's like hosting YouTube videos about just car random things. And it's like people are having him drive their cars and give reviews. And, it's like, I don't know if that's what people want from you, dude. Yeah. You know, I watched this video. I got like suckered in like 2 years ago, a year ago, when there was that big LA junkyard auction.
Yes.
Also R.N. Sotheby's. And the first thing I saw about it on YouTube on like my home screen was like this Magnus Walker video. So I was like, I guess I'll watch this because I want to know what's in this. What is the deal with this collection? And it was like 24 minutes of just like cliches and pauses. Like it was just like, he's like, some say one man's trash is another man's treasure. It is like, but like way longer pauses. It was so bad. Also, my British accent's terrible, but it was really annoying. Where I was like, why did I watch this? Like, he is many things, but he is not my what I look for in a presenter.
Yeah,
and so I always wonder if if you became this like massive uh personality in the car culture world in like 2013, like what would you do? Like how would you use that? How would you use that? And I don't mean how would you stay famous, but maybe that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But like what would you do to not do what he did? Because I don't think he did the right thing. And he's become like he was an ambassador for the Pininfarina electric supercar. Excuse me, hypercar. Sorry, that's a
Yes.
made up word. It's bullshit. He was the ambassador for that. Like, what does that mean? You know?
Yeah.
And then he's doing this thing with this awful Resto Mod XJS. So it's like, I don't know what he should have done, but I don't think it's what he did. Like, I think I think you could keep your dignity and respect and maybe not that amount of fame,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. Like,
And it's so weird because he's never needed the automotive influencer money, you know?
That's,
like,
I think, the crux of it for me, right?
But
It's like,
he's clearly not doing it's not the money for him. I think it's like I think it is the attention and the being a guy. You know, if he shows up at something, people are like, holy shit. You know what I mean? It's like people know who he is, like people want to talk to him. I think that's I'm sure that is addictive in a way that that none of us can understand, that it is more than the money.
there are these designers that become multi-hyphenates and just try to become these like general taste makers. And I feel like the automotive world is like, you know, because Magnus came around the same time as like RWB was hitting the scene as well, especially lighting like the internet and the Porsche world up, where they were doing very different things, but like, you know, kind of radical things for like either full on like Porsche keep it stock collectors, or like, you know, what a lot of people were using those cars for, except for, again, when you could buy like, I don't know, a 930 for like $25,000 in a firm handshake, like, you know. But since then, like, I mean, the RWB man has continued to just chain smoke cigarettes wherever he gets flown out to saw a car up. And,
no, that's a great
like,
right. That's a great point, because I think he's done it right. Like, I think Nakai is like, I don't give a fuck. Like, he's like, he's making his bank and he's doing what he loves. And if you don't like it, like, okay,
sure,
not for you. But he's not seeking the attention.
No, he just wants to keep selling these kits to folks. Like, he just wants to keep getting flown around the world.
But everyone that goes, I would love to go to like a build, like an RWB build, just because I hear it's like transformation. Like, no one comes away and is like, oh yeah, it's kind of bullshit. Everyone is like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Even if you don't love the cars, everyone is like really into it. Like, it seems like just this almost religious experience. Maybe I'm building it up too much, but I think it's really cool. Even now, all these years later, I think there's something magic about it. And I think Magnus has like completely eliminated whatever mystique there was, is like, you know, so long ago.
I think part of it is like what you were speaking to, like how broadly he seems to have, like, for lack of a better term, sold out, even though he didn't need to sell out. Like,
I would say strayed from his core competencies. Like, he could have just kept tweaking Porsches and churning them out. I mean, he could have done something like that, and instead he's, you know, doing car comparos for Haggerty.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is not, this ain't it.
They have a gangly British man who's good at that already.
I think part of like,
several.
If I became popular in car culture and then had to do something different to try to not go out of my depth and annoy people, but I did need the money to keep doing it. Let's just a hypothetical world where I did this in like 2020, let's say. I think part of what I find so constraining about like working with the auto industry, and I think part of why I rankle so much with Porsche specifically, is that like the OEMs, when you go on these press trips, right, like they do these crazy things for you, and then the expectation is that you give them fair to positive coverage. It depends on the automaker and the trip and the PR person in the car, and you know, it's a dance of this stuff. But there is always somebody who is there, and if you say something that they don't like, then there will be some sort of consequences, personally, professionally, you know, whatever. Like and that was, I think, part of what kind of drove me out of it with time, and because I'm really bad at doing that kind of thing. to the point where my strengths actually stemmed more from doing something like this, where I, say whatever the hell I want and talk about how our last episode, which is not out yet, so Kevin hasn't heard it, but Stellantis aiming the world's largest foot gun at itself and just blowing everything below the ankle clean off. And it's like, there's a level of freedom with that makes my opinions genuine. I think that like I can interface with car culture in a way that like I feel like I'm not being a total phony. And when you're a guy who like he's so intertwined with Porsche now, he's obviously like he's a brand ambassador for a bunch of stuff. He's got all of this like these merchandising opportunities, and I think it has turned him into some sort of like walking. He feels like an extension of like Porsche PR to me nowadays. Like
I don't agree because I think that a lot of these brands are kind of like, okay, I think they've I don't know if he has these relationships now. I think some of these brands have kind of gotten sick of his shtick. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, like Porsche fired him or something, but I think a lot of these companies, like he's not doing the things he was doing 4 years ago. Like, I don't think he's doing that. He's kind of going for like, who's going to put me up? He went from being kind of like this king of the customizing world, you could say a looming figure of the car customization world. But he was like, that's not enough. Like, I want to be in with the OEMs. I want to be in with this. And he ran headfirst into the world that you're talking about, Victoria, about like, the rules and acceptable range of criticism and all this stuff. Like he kind of went towards that because that's where there's more
money,
I guess, more influence. I'm not going to say more money. I don't know. But,
but it's the way you get access
to be this.
It's the way you get access to stuff. It's the way you get like cars. If you're trying to make posts, if your goal is content, then it is a great like ecosystem to get yourself into. If your goal is to do art, it is a terrible place to find yourself.
Which is I've been sitting on this for the last minute while it's been percolating. Nikai and RWB are live gallery like exhibitions.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's watching someone paint in real time. Where Magnus Walker is full Instagram. You know what I mean? Like he is short form video to the Nikai. Like Nikai is a like all of your senses experience being there, mostly cigarette smoke based, and like how many Coca-Colas will this man go through? How does this man taste anything at all anymore?
I would not be surprised if he does not own a smartphone. I would not be surprised if you found out that he like doesn't.
He's got
one.
like a pager. Yeah, if you told that, or he just like buys a burner every time he enters a new country. Like
wire the 30 grand. Okay.
No, you literally.
I'll be there.
I talked to the guy who commissioned one of not the first one in Houston, but like the second or third one might have been Austin. Anyways, and he's just like, I wired RWB $30,000. They told me vaguely when he was available, and I just rented a space and put the car in there for 2 weeks on either side of when he was maybe gonna show up. So
oh my god.
And then it's just like, and eventually I get a text. It's like, oh, he's on a flight, and so it's like, oh, okay, we're doing that. Like it's like he likened it to like when you're expecting a child, there's like a vague due date. But like sometimes it's like, no, it's fucking happening. It's happening. You're having a 9:30 with Fender flares.
Victoria, the one in Houston that you shot at Modern Air Cooled, the red one, is owned by my friend Nate Vosberg, who is one of my close friends. He had a different one that he had commissioned like 10 years ago, and someone hit it, and then he bought this red one that was already done. Like basically like Nikai found it for him, but he says that he was he was around, he saw Nikai, he hung out with him and went to Scuba, and Nikai had like a big track day for his customers and stuff. And
hell yeah.
Nikai like told him like, take one of these, like just take one of my cars out on the track.
That's awesome.
Think. Like take one of my RWBs on Scuba. Like
incredible.
That'd be so cool. So it just seems really
I mean, I think the other thing too is like, I don't know. there is like RWB is in racing games or whatever, as like you can race them at NFS, or they've kind of like permeated culture to the same degree. You know, I took shot pictures of that one. My friend has it hanging in his apartment. There's like still prints of it out there because it was a really cool car. But I think part of it is like when I think of RWB, like I know Nakai because I remember reading Speed Hunters articles about him. But he is his art is making those cars. He is kind of like the artist who is. You know, like I think if you are an artist who like really, really loves your work, ideally your work is kind of like the thing that you let speak for you, and then you know you're sort of like also there. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Magnus Walker is like I can think of that one like multicolored sort of Harlequin style red, white, and blue 911 he had, the like 277, the like really famous one that I think the shoes are based on and stuff.
They are.
But like
they're
most of what I know about
way.
him is that
that's less than I thought.
Yeah.
Most of what I know about him is that like he's Magnus Walker. He's the urban outlaw. He's the guy who's the serial entrepreneur. And I think it's like I think that's part of it for me. Is like it's the centering of self and like the way that the self is. He's like this. I think the other thing too is I just cannot stand self-made men. I am doing the world's largest air quotes as I say this. It is such a like, oh yeah, look at how, you know, I came to Los Angeles with a dream and now I'm a multi-billionaire who owns every block, apparently a ton of Los Angeles real estate in incredibly lucrative areas. And I have all my cool Porsches because I just worked hard, and it rankles me.
Did you say incredibly lubricated areas?
Yeah. Magnus is also urban outlaw from a British man is
pretty funny.
It's very funny. I'm like I don't know what crime you could possibly be doing other than speeding. Adult man.
Well, also like I mean, not to rag on your car, Kevin, because I love it, but like from my understanding, like most air-cooled 911s like are not maybe the fastest vehicles in the world. They're fun. I love driving it. It's a very well-balanced car, but it is way closer to the Miata end of the spectrum than like, you know, the hypercar end of the spectrum. And so it's also kind of like, I don't know. I mean, like my Supra probably, I think had a little bit more power than your Porsche did.
Yeah,
and I certainly would not describe that as a car that was like excessively outlawish.
My outlaw.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I should have called
M3,
myself when I was still in. I should have been like, I'm the urban outlaw because I have a death wish and like to speed.
I hate that you keep dragging this Porsche nerdery out of me that I'm eager to share. But the outlaw comes from the terminology, kind of comes from like the Emery, like Rod Emery and his dad, and the 356 Outlaws, which were like they weren't like PC, like they were tuned and tweaked and hot rodded, and like PCA like wouldn't let them in.
Yeah, but that's
like they were so outside
that's cool.
the norm. Yeah, no, of course it's cool now, but it was like in the like 80s. You go back to the 80s and 90s, and this was like, oh, this was like really subversive. So that's where that kind of term comes from, and I think like Magnus just kind of co-opted it for
but I think the thing is being walking up to a group of PCA people and they're like, oh man, your car is modified way too hard. You can't hang out with us. Is like that's genuinely cool. That is actually like outsider status. Congratulations, you have made something where like this you're like that's like it's 80s like cheesy like John Landis flick where it's like, oh man, we have to like show up the like am I thinking is John Landis the right person I'm thinking of? You made a face at me.
I made a face only
John Landis. He
killed people.
There was some crimes. There was some murder that happened on the set of his movie. Oh, not murder, but a helicopter.
Oh shit,
tragedy.
that's him.
Yeah.
That was John Landis, yeah.
Didn't
and
he
then
do,
his
like,
shitbag son's Bax Landis. Yeah.
Yeah. He also has a Wikipedia page with some controversy issues.
But it's a big segment.
The last thing about Magnus before we move on is he, like, when you mentioning this Sotheby's auction, which it's not just the starter kit, which it's like a few of his cars. This is the first time I've heard him talk about like customized Porsches or his Porsches or anything in like 8 years. because he's just been doing these other things. It's like, you should be doing, like, this is like your kind of like core company. Like, this is your thing. And so
it would almost be
I don't
cooler
know,
if he,
for what
like,
it's worth.
instead of putting his name on this auction and like throwing in a pair of his shoes and some of the parts he uses, if he like assembled a car and was like, here, I'm going to sell this. This is my ultimate, air-cooled 911 or something. If he really wanted to go back to his roots of this instead of selling you a Tamiya kit.
I think he already did that at one point, though, right?
I think he did that with that 964, which I didn't like.
Well, on the subject of air-cooled 911s and being an artist and hopefully not selling out. No.
Still early.
Yeah, I mean, you and I both still have time. We could totally sell out. I did say last episode, again, the one that has not aired yet, that if Kodak approaches us and is like, hey, we'll give you a pallet of film in exchange for an ad slot, we're both doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like, I can be bought for a surprisingly low amount of Ektachrome.
You hear that, advertisers?
I'm still holding out for used V8 Vantage money, which again is getting perilously close to $20,000. You could get some real shit heaps out there for like $20K.
We need a GoFundMe for this.
Well, you saw what our original vision for the company car was, right?
You have to remind
Ferrari
me.
FF.
Ferrari FF.
Oh, that's
the family
right.
car. The practical Ferrari?
Yeah.
It stands for Ferrari for families.
Yeah.
No, but
functional vehicle.
Kevin has this cool 911. Again, one of the very first cars I ever reviewed. Actually, you just tossed me the keys. My profile picture on the drive for the first 3 years I was there was a shot of me grinning ear to ear driving that car. That you took on your phone as we were posting on Instagram or whatever. It was really cool. It was it was a fun shot of me. I looked really happy. I liked it a lot because it's a fun car.
Awesome.
But you wrote and shot a book of photography that features cars heavily. I don't want to call it automotive photography because I think it is better than the moniker automotive photography suggests. It's called Waiting for the Sun to Come Down. I suppose I should say, full disclosure, that you and I have the same publisher. We Deserve This was also published by Career Media. But as I said before, I am doing this because I like it. So I don't shill things unless I actually like them or unless Kodak shows up to my house with a large pallet. Those are the only two situations in which I will shill. If Jordan starts talking about stuff, somebody probably promised her an Aston, so
Raytheon is here to bring Shell Oil and Aramco. Kevin, real quick before we get into the book, I'm gonna derail so poorly. Kevin, they're doing it to Fernando Alonso again. They're doing it to that old man again. They're fucking that old man again.
They're doing it.
It's the world's funniest thing.
What?
I would have liked to see the Dr. Strangelove meeting underground where they determined that Alonso is going to get screwed again.
It's
honestly, the hubris of Adrian Newey to be like, yeah, I can come in and redesign the car in 6 months and also be team principal, and also Lawrence Stroll was in the Epstein files. So really, this team, I really am like Aston Martin and Aramco. I'm sorry, I have no sympathy.
Not at
all. I
all.
want this to happen. It's good. Actually.
It's good. Actually,
really good.
It's funny. It's the world's funniest thing.
It's good that they did. It's good that they did 6 laps on the last day of testing before the race.
It's normal and good when your F1 car can't go forward while revving at 18,000 RPM. It's good and normal.
Apparently the vibrations are so much worse than they expected, but they expected bad. They expected it to not be good, but it's worse to a debilitating degree. So. Yeah, they're doing it again.
They're doing it to this old man again. When we were talking 10 years ago in Chris Wynn's fucking dining room about how the Honda was torturing this man.
Oh my god, it's so true. Yeah.
But your book is one of 2 books. Actually, y'all's books are kissing on my coffee table right now. I will try to remember to take a photo before we post it.
Thank you again for the equal compliments. We appreciate it equally.
Fair and balanced. That's what I say. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the slogan for the show.
I you came up with this book late last year, I want to say, or is it?
Yeah, we released it with Carrara Media as your publisher also in 2025, which was last year, was when it basically became available. Um, and yeah, it's just something I had wanted to do for a long time, and Ryan was game to do it and really supportive and helpful, and I was really proud of the result. It's a book of cars shot like in dramatic shadows, dramatic lighting, like a lot of, black voids, and interesting cars. I've got like, like a Alfa Romeo SD and like a Maserati Compson and a bunch of interesting cars, including my beloved Sport Cross that I no longer have. But it's and then of course like 6 pages of my 911 because it was convenient to shoot. But I think shooting the 911 kind of, I don't know what it didn't really start me shooting in this style, but shooting a white car uh like definitely lends itself where the sun is hitting it and you have this one surface lit up and it's against like just black void, and so you get this natural contrast. I never want to be like, oh, I just turned up the contrast. You want to like have like good direct light and natural fall off and shadow, and come up with something. So what's exciting about doing this, for me, this kind of photography, is that like even going, I can go to the same place and bring a car, and like I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I don't know exactly how the light's going to fall, or I'll park the car and I'll be like, oh yeah, this part's in the sun, it's going to look really cool, and I'll get out and I'm like, oh no, that didn't work at all. Like it is, the sun is just magic.
Yeah.
The sun is so powerful and amazing and incredible, and it's like the photography is like, the study of light. I don't know if I actually put that in the book. I hope I didn't, but it truly is like light. Natural light is so spectacular and fascinating, and it's like you could spend a lifetime just studying natural light and what happens. And I'm sorry, Victoria, you live in a place that doesn't have sunlight, but
hey, we get 3 months of it. I get a manic episode for the entire summer, and I go shoot 17 hours a day. That's how I make up for it.
Amazing. But yeah, a little bit about my backstory in photography is, since you asked, is I started shooting bad car reviews when I moved to Houston in 2010 or 11. It was like one of these like opportunities where it's like, I shot like for a local publication. I was able to get press cars, and I didn't know how to write, and I thought I knew how to shoot, but it turns out I didn't know how to shoot. And I really thought like, oh, like the pros, like the people, because I loved like emo, I loved all the like British magazines, and those guys were so good. Like James Littman is just so spectacular. They don't have sunlight there, so they've got to like add this pop to their photos. They add artificial light. They look so good, and they're masters of it, and it's just like so cool. And I thought like, to be a pro, you really have to do that. So when I started shooting, like it was not very long before I was like, I'm going to add light in. I'm going to do all this stuff with lighting, because that's what you have to do to like really elevate, And and I was shooting, and I didn't really know, like nothing was that good. Like it was a lot of work, and I was lugging stuff around, a lot of setup, and I wasn't enjoying it. And I was, I thought I was, but I wasn't being creative, because it's like you take 5 minutes to set up a shot. You're not going to like move everything and take another one at a slightly different angle, or explore, or experiment, or like, it's having all that gear and stuff is very inhibiting to your process of kind of just like seeing.
Yes.
You're not looking, you're not seeing what's there. So when Instagram came out, and I'm going to praise this horrible app, because in the early days, like it was fun, and I did some projects with Lincoln where I met some like photography,
you can tell
influencers, and
you can tell that this is
early days.
This is a mid-aged millennial podcast, because we all remember when Instagram was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, there wasn't video at some point, and so for a long time, so I kind of like, went on some maybe a couple of press trips and saw these people that were like, amazing, like lifestyle photographers, and they did everything like on the phone for
Yes.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And that was what, so I kind of was like, oh, like this is a really pure approach where um we all have this one piece of, all the camera phones are basically the same, and they're worse now.
Yeah.
iPhone cameras worse now, but it used to be pretty decent, and you would take these pictures and we all posted from our phone, and everyone in the beginning thought Instagram was like, well, this is like, oh, I post a picture of my breakfast. Like it was literally just Twitter for pictures. And what opened my eyes, and these photographers being around them, like Grant Legan and stuff, was they saw the art in like, we can use this and we can make something artistic and share it. And it wasn't about the clout and it wasn't about the followers. It was really about like, this is like my gallery is like a little gallery of art. Like these can be little pieces of art that I create through the day. And I've just got this tool with me. And I thought that was so compelling and interesting, and that totally changed my approach, because I used to use Instagram for like, oh, I set up all these bullshit lights to shoot a Ford Focus ST, and here's a behind the scenes shot, and also it sucks, and so it was like throwaway. Like to me, it was like throwaway, and so it kind of changed my perception, where it's like, oh, like this can be the thing, and I got so it forced you to be really creative, and and I always viewed it up until like 2020, when I started posting real camera stuff on Instagram. I kind of viewed it as like this kind of like level playing field. It's like, how creative can you be with this little thing? And over time, like shooting cars, and I would like find old cars and like shoot cars that I saw, like street park cars, whatever. And I would like get better results shooting those than when I set up lights around a Dodge Charger press car. I was like, oh well, this is a more interesting photo. And you do react to like what people like a little bit, but it's like, oh, people are engaging with this because it's like there's contrast, there's pop, there's color, there's like there's expression, there's something of me in this. And when you shoot on an iPhone or a smartphone sensor, it's a much smaller dynamic range. So if you're shooting it in the sun, like, and it's a light colored car, it's going to really pop, and whatever's in the background, especially if you like underexpose a little, it's going to like disappear into nothingness. And I really loved this. I loved like that separation. I loved the mystery of like, this fender of this car, and it's like whatever, people used to see like classic cars parked on the street and stuff. You don't really see it now, but this fender of this like gold car I randomly saw, parked somewhere, like this gold Challenger, but not one of the good ones, like old one. Sorry, classic Challenger. And when I said gold, you knew it was not a new Challenger, because they don't have like cool colors on the new ones. But so you that would like pop, and it was just like it was cool, and everything else was black, and I loved like just there was like a storytelling element where it's like, what is in that shadow? Like, what's going on here? Like, why is this so? I don't know. I liked the drama. Well, I liked the separation of subject and background, like really dramatically.
And I think
possible.
one of the things that drew me into the book is that like, and this is something that like the Instagram part of this makes itself apparent, right? Is because I obviously am like active on a bunch of like photography apps and stuff, and I use digital cameras. I've used them for a very long time, and people are pretty used to them at this point. And one of the things that I think digital has as a negative over like versus like a film camera or a smaller, old
digital
stuff.
Doesn't have negatives. You don't have negatives. Goes straight to the sensor.
But one of the things that I think it really like makes people shoot differently is that everything is, you can capture everything. There's so much dynamic range that like that you can shoot directly into the sun of a car in the shade, and you can still get everything more or less exposed right, especially on like really modern like mirrorless stuff. And so I think people go for a look that is, I see a lot of stuff that is closer to like an HDR kind of style, where it's like you have not made any intentional choices about what to overexpose or underexpose. You've just been like, you've just thought about framing, right? And like choosing what you want to actually get exposed correctly is one of the fun parts of film for me, because you actually have to make the choice. And I think like the style that you shoot cars in is something that I don't see other people really do. A lot of it is that kind of like, even if it's not multi-light, right? Like the goal, and I did this too. When I first started doing automotive photography, I did like, I have to have strobes. I got to do flashes. I have to like, every single part of the car has to be perfectly lit. I wanted, basically the ideal was like every car I should roll into a studio. And like, you know, because that's you want to shoot like what you see in advertisements. And like, I liked Webb Bland. That was like, he was like my big inspiration early on. He does amazing work, and he does bring a lot of character to his shoots, which was not something I had yet at that period in my life. But yeah, I think it's just like the intentionality of like, okay, I'm going to show this versus all of it. I'm going to like leave mystery. I think that's part of why, to me, it's like, it feels more like photography of like very fascinating still lifes almost, even in the shots that have motion in them. I feel like you do like, because a still life is about like, okay, what have you chosen to include in this? How are you emphasizing the light in this image? And your pictures focus on that above like, hey, check out this cool car I saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm really glad you said that, because it's not about like, I'm shooting this Ferrari. Look at it. Like, it is cool when the car is cool and the light is cool, but I'm more excited about the light than the car. And so this book was about like, also, by the way, I tried to like get really good cars, but the light is really the number one thing. You know, there's cars that I didn't include because there was just boring light or whatever. So the light comes first. So,
and I think think the thing is like, I have a copy in front of me, and I have actually a poster of the one shot that you did of friend of the show, Myron Vernus's Stelvio Zagato, the Autech car with the weird mirrors, the Nissan one. I think this is a road and track story, right? Yes.
Yes. Right before
and
COVID.
The thing is, like, there are... At this point, that's a car that's, like, it's still mysterious. There's not, like, a ton of information about it, but, like, it's more of a known quantity. There are definitely, like, press photos or whatever. And getting to see it in literally a light that is dramatic, that emphasizes, like, the styling touches from not just here is a rare car I saw, but, like, here is a different perspective on it that you probably aren't going to see anywhere else. Like, you've got that one shot that I have the poster of the overhead from, like, the shot from a bridge as it drove under. And you like really get to see how alien this car's design is in that light specifically. And it emphasized portions of it that I had never really actively considered before. It made me appreciate the car's design a lot more. And I think that like that is like, even when you're shooting cool cars, I think the perspective on it is kind of what makes them much more interesting. Because I mean, at this point, like Jordan and I and you have like, you've driven 3 E-types in February. Like it takes even the fascinating becomes like a little normal at some point. Even if it's still cool to you, it's not like, you know, you see an E-type now and you're probably like, oh cool, my 4th E-type for the year, instead of like, you know, wow, an E-type. And I think that like every automotive photographer when they first start out is like, oh my god, cool cars, I can't believe it, this is awesome. Which you should. It's fun to have that kind of perspective on it. But like what comes after that when you're like, okay, how am I still going to make this feel interesting even if people don't like cars, right? Like that's always been been...
That was what I really wanted to... That's the struggle, is the appeal. And there's so many people that stop. I really like what you said, like, what comes after that. Because there's so many people that stop. They're like, well, I'm taking a picture of a Lamborghini, so that's interesting enough. And I'm like, well, that's not interesting to me. Like, it needs something else. And I'd rather have a interesting, compelling, mysterious picture of like an Oldsmobile Cutlass from 1987, Cutlass Sierra, like in Fargo, than a Lamborghini, you know, whatever any of the new ones are. I would much, even a good one, I'd much rather have like an interesting photo than of a bad car or an uninteresting car. Although now they become interesting because I don't see those. But it is not about the car. It's about the light and the photo and the scene. And if the car is good, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
What got you away from just showcasing your iPhone stuff? Was it just wanting to branch out more post-COVID, or was there something specific that triggered that?
Well, that is a really good question, because I was going to kind of transition back to my journey. I don't know what I think it was like. I was kind of fighting against the tide for a couple years where it was like everyone, my view was like Instagram is, about the moment, about this. I would go on road trips with my friend Daniel Sloan, and we would post like 6 like really well crafted pictures in a day that we really put a lot of effort into, and they were all like we did them on the day, and it was kind of this in real time. What can you do using only this? And I was still shooting stuff with a Nikon camera, but I wasn't posting it. I was shooting just from the phone, and it became kind of restrictive, where it's like, oh, if I want to do other techniques, other things like light painting or shutter drag or anything else that's like the phone just can't do, or you bring back a strobe, bring that into it. It's like at what point am I just artificially handicapping myself? And also, it's like I want to still get jobs, and if people look at this, and they only, like I've gotten some pretty impressive stuff with the phone, but I figured out there's some things that the phone can do really well, and there's a lot of things that it can't do well. And so, if you want to open yourself up to just more styles and more things, like for instance, like anything in the dark, anything like that, like I needed to start posting other things. So it was just kind of like, it just felt like time.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, I'm just going to showcase the work that I do. And it was also easier because I wasn't having to shoot iPhone pictures and then shoot Nikon pictures. Like it was like, I'm just going to do this and not use my phone at all and not worry about it. And that makes it easier. And I think like during that time, I also like tried to just be around that time. I was just trying to be more creative and like do more things that the camera can do and just explore new techniques.
Had to have been right around the time that you and I got together and did that light painting session in downtown Houston. We did. This was right around the time that I drove that Turbo A Supra, and we did the shot of your car. I don't know if that was for a video or not, but this had to have been right around the time that you had switched from like just posting iPhone stuff, because it was like early 2021, I want to say.
I remember you light painted it, but I don't. I think you did that. That's for
possible.
You.
I did a story. I also did.
I think that you had the prelude.
That was a different shoot in the same spot. We used to shoot a lot of pictures together in Houston.
Those were really good times.
Yeah, it was fun.
I remember leaning on your iPhone only stuff for heavy inspiration, though, when I was covering races at CODA with the iPhone being my one and only option to shoot. I think it was when you visited Austin when we first met, Kevin, where you showed me the trick that has defined every time I have tried to shoot stuff with an iPhone to this day. The trick of put it on the ground. Put it on the ground, camera as close to the ground as you can. When you showed me that on like South Congress all those years ago, that blew my fucking mind. Like the amount of things that you were doing with it. Like honestly, I'm surprised that it was as late as it was that you moved away from posting just iPhone stuff, because I could have sworn that you had like moved away way earlier, but I'm like, no, I guess that makes sense, because like, yeah, by 2018, 2019, like you've got Larry Chen posting, his entire I'm hanging outside of this is like from a camera car shoots. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was fighting against the tide for a while, and it was time. But it was also like not having to like, oh, I've got to get the iPhone one, and then it was like a real, it was a lot easier to just focus on the camera, the good camera. I actually regret like some of the road trips where I took too many iPhone photos, where I'm like, okay, well, these kind of look like crap now. Years later, I wish I had shot some like real good pictures of this like amazing Arizona landscape instead of this like crappy like 9 megapixel or 4 megapixel iPhone version or whatever. But
it worked out because like the book itself is a very cohesive statement of like,
yes, we were
aesthetic.
Talking about
it's a very cohesive statement of like a unified aesthetic vision of like, this is how I see the world, right? Like, I mean, the best way that I think that you can like resonate with a photographer's work is like you're like, oh, this person sees the world in a very interesting way that I had not considered before. Whatever kind of slice of it is, like that's what I shoot for with a lot of my work. Is I want people to look at my stuff and think that like, okay, as taken as a whole, Vicky's work shows me some slice of like what she experiences life as, and like. You know, when you're doing like well lit normal pictures of cars that have like, you know, 3 strobes and, you know, reflect bounce lights and reflectors and all that stuff in like a, you know, well lit glass business park, you know, that doesn't really tell you anything other than I was here in a business park and took a picture of this car, probably for some professional kind of thing. And this is like such a, oh yeah, these are artistic objects to you that you think of as like, you walk into a shoot with a car as like, oh, I'm a photographer, and there's a colorful, large object in front of me with many complex surfaces, and it's like, yeah, that is the way that you play with that is itself interesting, and I don't really see a lot of other people do it, and so like those artificial limits worked out because the book is fantastic. I love it.
Well, thank you so much. Well, another thing about that large object is that you can move it much easier than most 3,000-pound objects. So that's good. So you can just, oh, this doesn't work. I'm going to rotate it. Oh, I'm going to move it over here. Oh, the shadow changed. I'm moving it here. So the book, to clarify, the book is not iPhone photos.
No, none of them.
But there is a small stretch of iPhone photos.
Yeah.
In it. Yeah. So the black pages are like, hey, this was kind of the beginning of this technique because I got so into this high dramatic highlights and deep shadows that I got into that. And so I started shooting my Nikon photos to kind of look like that. I kind of sought that out, but I kind of started it on the phone. So if I hadn't used the phone as like a real object to try to capture art, I probably never would have done this avenue, you know, whatever. And so I sort of inadvertently, like you never can set out to find like what your style is, but I stumbled upon a style that I really enjoy that I've, you know, in the smallest way become known for. And it was all because of this like winding
and that's like
path,
that's like know? I think that's one way that I find like a lot of compelling art is somebody who's like, I have a massive limitation I'm working with. I'm going to make something really cool because of it. Like, it's one thing to work your way around it, and there's plenty of good art that's made through like working around limitations. There's plenty of art that's made that's fantastic with like unlimited budgets or resources. But I'm going to do something precisely because of the challenges inherent in the medium is like, I mean, that is no small part why I like got back into film, right? Is because I was like, okay, I want something that has more difficulty to it. I want something that like forces me to think a little differently. I would like more of a challenge to it. So it makes sense, and it works. I also
I've accepted.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I also really appreciate that you keep mentioning that you're a Nikon shooter, because I now we have regained Nikon control on the podcast.
Oh, good! Thank goodness. Yeah.
Still not getting over.
I don't want to say anything bad about Sony, but like I'm just not like I don't think Scientology is for me. But
what is it? November accidentally got me on the last time we had a guest on for what did she call Canon shooters? Subhuman or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
And as I quickly push my Canon out of frame.
I think I said to Derek Powell like yesterday in a text that Leica was the number one doctor recommended brand of cameras for doctors.
Yeah.
Not photographers. But
Leica is not quite the machine that kills dentists, but like there's something there, like, you know.
Yeah.
If you have,
do you have a paint to sample 9/11?
I feel like Leica, Cessna, and Porsche are like pick one. You pick two or more, I definitely won't hang out with you. But if you pick one, you probably could still be cool.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you can't have all.
I was on a press thing. Actually, I hung out with you, Jordan, around the same time, but I was in Austin for a press thing with Audi at Coda, and the actor Sung Kang was there from Fast and Furious, and he was like the most like cool, like charming, like amazing person, and he was talking about how he's like he stays away from Porsches because because Paul Walker did not, you know, his accident was with one, and also he did a thing with Mobile One where like he and Magnus Walker swapped cars and the like throttle stuck open on like Angela's crest and he thought he was gonna die.
Oh my god.
I don't know if that's exclusive, but it's been long
Magnus
enough.
Walker almost fucking killed fucking Sung Kang.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So he's like, I don't F with Porsches. Like, it's not good. Actors and Porsches don't
No. Yeah, I just wouldn't tempt it. Like, yeah, it's...
Yeah.
Sung Kang, come on the show.
Sure.
Yeah. His garage is crazy cool. That's another guy who's like, okay, he's into cars because he's into cars. He did the exact same thing I would do if I like was suddenly a millionaire overnight, where I'd be like, oh damn, I'm gonna own every single cool JDM car from 1973 to about 1998.
Yeah, I saw him at the Motoring Club in LA a couple months ago, but I didn't. He was in a meeting, like he was in like an open space, but like doing a meeting, and I was like, "Hey, you don't remember me?" That's always a great way to introduce. Hey, I'm a nobody, but we have a past experience that only I remember. So I didn't do that, but
probably for the best.
I did the next worst thing, which is telling people about it on a public forum.
How public is the podcast? You know what I mean?
Shockingly public. I have access to our listenership metrics, and we are doing not bad.
Yeah, I can't look at the numbers or I'm going to go crazy.
This episode is going to be the exception.
No, come on. This is new for 96's Kevin McCauley capturing the machine himself. Come on.
New for 96 is a little bit dormant, but the last episode we did last May was all about the oval Ford Taurus. So if that doesn't draw in the listeners, I don't know.
That would actually
describe so many episodes of that show of it was about the oval Ford Taurus.
That one truly was a deep dive. Someone wrote a book. Someone was like embedded at Ford. I mean, not like secretly, but like this writer was at Ford, and they let her in all the meetings and stuff, and they let her there, and she like talked about how this car got
love
made,
the idea,
which I always
I
wanted
do love
to
the
know.
idea though of being like a KGB guy who's like, well, the wall has fallen, but I'm still soldiering on here to find out what's happening with the development of the Jelly Bean Taurus.
I always defended that Taurus, and the book kind of confirmed where it's like, yeah, the first Taurus was so revolutionary, they thought they had to knock it out of the park again. And they were like, this is going to be the leap like the 86 Taurus was. And it didn't work out. But not Taurus related, but the Ford Scorpio, the English one. That one. So my favorite thing ever, my favorite car thing is that it's like the styling was so derided. The Wikipedia is like, Ford never released the name of the man who designed it. It says this on Wikipedia for fear of them getting like 1995 docs.
It's the only car ever penned by Alan Smithy. Like.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the Ford Scorpio, I say it looks like a combination of the Toyota Century and the Buick Century. Like, it looks like this hybrid of the two.
An American century of humiliation. Yes, correct.
Yeah, no, I mean, that I was just going to say, like, I think that's a pretty compelling pitch to our audience. Just based on the, like, reader questions we've had, I think that people will be extremely eager to listen to a deep dive on, oh my God, Jordan, are you going to throw up?
I hadn't looked at one in a really long time. It reminds me of the slightly bigger version of the Malibu they made. Do you remember that? It was one of the
Malibu
last
Max.
Chevy. The Malibu Max, yes.
Where it's like a bustle back ish kind of thing, but it's like a 2005 hatchback sedan. Yeah, one of the abominations that even God would never look upon again.
There was a house on my street. And up until like 2 years ago, they had both versions of the Malibu and the Malibu Max of that era. And every time I would drive by, I would quote Office Movies. It's like, I celebrate the entire catalog.
The Malibu Max, my joke was always, it was the only car GM never styled. It's just one of those things where it's just
like the Toyota MRS.
Yeah. Like, no.
That was a car that, like, clean sheet design. Should we style it?
Absolutely not. No. It's got a body on for crash reasons. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're not finished with the clay model? Get that shit out of here. we've got to go bankrupt in 20 minutes. You got to finish this shit now. Like, it's like my favorite car I would see around, this is a complete sidebar. You ever see an actual Saab 94X out in the wild?
No, is that that's the Subaru?
That's the Subaru, the SUV that is produced in fewer numbers than like the Ferrari Enzo. like they made double the amount of Enzos or whatever. Like
that was like the Trailblazer one.
Yeah,
or no?
No, it was some like badge engineered Chevy SUV. It was the one of the ones that they produced under their brief Spiker ownership. Thinking about Spiker again. Houston, which had a Spiker dealer.
Oh, I forgot
Driving
about
from
that.
the Woodlands to Houston, I knew we were almost there as a child because we'd passed the fucking Spiker dealership.
You see the sun gleaming off that chrome steering wheel with 4 spokes.
Listen to New for 96. You should get a copy of Waiting for the Sun to Come Down, because it's genuinely excellent.
It's one of the best.
I deeply appreciate you coming on to talk with us. This has been...
Thank you so much for having me. This was an honor. This was so much fun.
Yeah, this I was like, I'm not going to get the level of drunk we would get when we would record New for 96 at Chris's place. The reason why I've never driven your 911, because every time you're like, oh, and then we'll be finished recording and then you could drive the 911, and we'd get hammered, and then I'd have to hang around Chris's house for an extra hour and a half so I could drive back home.
I recall this. I don't know what the statute of limitations is, but yes, exactly. Something like that.
I was 21, parody. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, no, like I said, I'm a fan of the pod. It is every episode I listen to, it's like hanging out with my 2 friends, and it's always really enjoyable. Except for when I'm like, I want to chime in with my own views, you know? Like I was telling Victoria earlier before you got on. So now was the chance to do it. And I didn't have to beg too much.
No, absolutely. So we were always fantastic. You were one of the first people we mentioned, and then
we mentioned your name like 5 times, so we were just like, we just have to have him on.
Yeah.
And then I came on and I mentioned CIS like 5 times. Bosch, hey, Jetronic.
Yeah, well,
our strongest hero.
I hope you appreciate being the first cisgender guest on Trangirlismo. Possibly the only. I don't know. I don't know very many cis people.
Well, it's bound to happen. We shouldn't write it off. But yeah, Kevin, is there anything you want to plug that we didn't already mention before we let you go?
It's already been mentioned. Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
That's all I got.
Alrighty.